Inflammation drives autoimmune disease. So much of that burden is manufactured and able to be influenced by levels of inflammation in the body, and medicine hasn't even realized that yet. If people can figure out ways to influence their levels of inflammation, they can very often influence their antibody levels.
Do you know that feeling when your body just isn't working right, but your doctor says your blood work is normal? You're exhausted, your hair's falling out, you can't lose weight, your brain feels foggy. And they ran that one thyroid test and it said everything is fine. Meanwhile, you know something's definitely not right. My guest today, McCall McPherson, is a thyroid specialist who spent 17 hours a day in bed until she figured out what conventional medicine will not tell you. Here's the thing, 99% of the time, that basic thyroid panel that your doctor is testing is missing the real problem. McCall walks us through the one symptom that's so predictive of thyroid problem that she's never seen another condition cause it. Plus, the real test your doctor should be running, but probably isn't. If you're tired of being told that you're fine when you feel terrible and you want to know why your labs don't match what is actually happening, I want you to keep listening. This episode will change everything about how you approach your thyroid health. All right, everyone, I have a very special guest. We all have thyroids. We all want to maintain our weight, maintain our metabolic function, but we don't know exactly what's going on under the hood until we go to our conventional doctor, we get the lab work, but it could be going on for 10 years. McCall McPherson, you are on the show. You are a thyroid expert, and we're going to talk about really why the thyroid is so important and overlooked. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me and for having this conversation. It's one that women, men too, but women need to hear it. So thanks for helping me spread the word. I'm
excited to go into, we have a big female audience. So, and I know that, this is something that you're really passionate about. You work with a lot of women. And the fellas out there, listen, we all have thyroids, but we're going to go into some rapid fire questions. Are you ready?
I am so ready. Let's do it. Okay.
What's the most overrated thyroid wellness trend that you've seen going on right now? Is there anything that it's just everyone's wanting to do for the thyroid?
Yes.
It doesn't really do anything. You're wasting your money.
It's not even money. It's hope. It's hope that, for something that won't likely come to fruition. And it's coming off of your thyroid medication, especially if you have Hashimoto's in particular, and you've lost real thyroid function. I think so many people are dangling that carrot, and it's kind of dangerous for long-term health outcomes in a lot of aspects. Occasionally people can come off of meds, but it's the exception, not the rule.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm assuming there's a lot of marketing that get off your thyroid medication in 6 months, work with me.
Yep.
I want to go into that a little bit later for sure. What is one natural approach to thyroid healing that actually is, over the years, you're like, this has some legs. This is really good.
There are so many, but definitely I think the thing that most people don't understand is you can actually reverse Hashimoto's. You can put it into remission. Just because you have it doesn't mean you're stuck with it forever, which is incredibly empowering.
Are there any trends on TikTok that you've seen for hormones, just overall hormones, that you're just like, I don't know about this one?
For hormones, let me think. Oh my gosh. There's probably so darn many.
Yeah.
I think cold plunge is one that's a little tricky for people with thyroid and hormone dysfunction, women especially. Mainly. So I always caution people to listen to their body with that one because it can be extremely advantageous or it can create more dysfunction and breakdown.
I like that one because that one's really popular.
It is.
And you're in Austin. Every dude in Austin and females jumping into a cold plunge out there.
And they get very defensive. Like if I say something, they're like, whoa, they will try to take me down. They are very protective of their cold plunge, but someone's got to say it.
Someone has to say, and it's not for everyone. I know it's rapid fire, but I have things to say too, but we'll talk later about that. What is one thing about thyroid health? What is one cause of thyroid dysfunction that no one is really talking about right now?
Yeah. It is literally the breakdown of your thyroid over time due to aging, pollutants, things like that. In the absence of Hashimoto's, people always talk about Hashimoto's. It is, in research shows it's about 80 to 90% of the reason for hypothyroidism. But hey, just like we lose hormones, we lose thyroid function, and we need to recognize that as a society because women deserve to be screened and take a look under the hood, as you said, to check in.
What is one symptom that people don't connect to thyroid dysfunction, but when you hear it, you go, let's get a workup here. It sounds like something's going on with your thyroid.
High blood sugar, cholesterol, 100%.
And we don't look at that. We go straight to what are you eating and
100%.
probably what you're eating, but maybe not your thyroid.
Yeah, someone tried to put me on cholesterol meds at 27 for my thyroid problem. Isn't that crazy?
Whoa.
Yeah.
Whoa.
I'd still be on them today, I think. Once you get put on that, medicine's really reluctant to take you off. So thank God that I addressed my thyroid issue and my cholesterol issues faded.
Okay, so welcome to the show. Thank you for those rapid fires. You're off the hot seat.
Love it.
The thyroid, so you've had your own experience with your thyroid.
Absolutely. So since I was about 19, did okay for a while. When I was 27, completely hit a wall. I was already practicing medicine. I'm not kidding when I tell you I was spending 16 or 17 hours a day in bed. Went to work, immediately came home flat on my back. Weekends were the entire same story. I would almost and I was so anxious about it, I would rest enough for the next work day while still recovering from the previous one, right? Had a slew of thyroid issues, fatigue, brain fog, was losing my hair, 15 pounds overweight, weight change, didn't change anything in my lifestyle. Went to my doctor and was like, hey, I think I need just a shift in my synthroid. Something's going on. I've got all these thyroid symptoms. I think I need an increase. He runs TSH and is like, nah, you look great. In fact, if anything, we need to reduce your medication. And I'm like, wait, whoa. You can't do that. I can't function. If you take anything from me, I will be unemployed. I won't have relationships, friendships, anything. So left, came back with a little Post-it, was like, hey, I found some extra labs. Can you run a deeper dive into this? See if we can figure out if maybe something else is going on. No, completely rejected. Told again, I need to reduce my medication. Through all the brain fog, which is so hard. I feel so bad for people trying to navigate this when their brain is working at 20%, right? I found a clinician who specialized in complex thyroid issues, waited months to see him, saw him, completely changed my life. Still to this day, I tell patients often, if that hadn't happened to me, I'd probably be on unemployment by now. I would be a non-functioning member of society. I probably wouldn't be a mother. So much of my life would have been robbed from me. And now I get to help women exactly like me on a daily basis and impact the lives of people that might not otherwise have the help that they deserve.
And thank God you got to come across this doctor who was able to help you give her a proper workup. Because what I'm hearing and knowing, working in medicine, there is a big gap between what conventionally is tested for and sort of what really needs to be looked at. And why? What is the gap? Why are so many people going undiagnosed or maybe even sometimes misdiagnosed with their thyroid?
For a few years, we were trending in the right direction. We were starting to look at things a little more progressively. We were starting to narrow the margins of what's accepted as, quote, normal. And then a study came out in 2018 and then another one in 2019 that literally picked up the train of thyroid care and put it on an entirely new set of tracks. And if you don't mind me going deep for a second, I think we should. I love it.
Sure.
So basically the study was done on people with levothyroxine-based medications. So that is Synthroid, levothyroxine, Unithroid. That accounts for 89% of the medication that people in America are put on. They're just on that. It so happens that medication is an inactive hormone. It's like giving someone a bunch of crude oil, but they need gasoline to put in their car to make it go. If they can't really convert that crude oil to gasoline, they're not going very far in their car. The same with this class of medication. So they gave everybody levothyroxine and they came to the conclusion that if their TSH, their thyroid stimulating hormone, wasn't crazy high. The first study was if it wasn't above 10, my range is below 1.8 to give you a little perspective. The second study said if it wasn't above 20, these people are disabled by that point. They're disabled, they have diabetes, they have heart disease, so much is going on underneath the surface. They're barely functioning in their lives. If their TSH isn't above those numbers, they don't actually get improvement in their symptoms or their quality of life score. So they said, I guess this means we shouldn't treat people unless their TSH is over 10, over 20, until it's so severe that they get the improvement. The problem with those studies really is, and the question that literally no one has asked is, what if the medication from the study, the only medication pretty much offered to every single person ubiquitously with a thyroid problem, doesn't work? And that was the issue. The medication everyone is being put on does not solve the problem, nor will it ever, because you can give someone all the crude oil in the world, but if they can't convert it to gasoline, they're never going to feel well. And at that point, we started basing further studies on that study. And we are working so hard in the traditional aspect of medicine to treat less and less people, when in fact we need to be treating more and more people.
And that study was
2018 and another one in
2018.
2019.
So it veered everything that was happening in the functional world, whereas sort of conventional and functional were sort of blending together and to have more cohesion and helping people with thyroid issues. Yeah. But now it's created more separation.
Way more separation. And for whatever reason, it's strange. Like medicine, clinicians, physicians are rigidly defensive of their thyroid care. Like they do not want to open up the conversation.
Really?
So like no one is angrier than an endocrinologist that sees that I have a patient on T3 and their TSH is 0.6. Like they're infuriated. They get so defensive of it. I don't know why, but it is an undeniable fact.
So to understand, and viewers and listeners to clear this up, basically people are being treated when things are really in the red zone only, versus looking at sort of prevention or what's going on under the hood as it's going to the red zone. And is it because of the lab testing? Is the conventional testing for thyroid only showing downstream when it's in dysfunction? Or should we be doing other tests to see what's under the hood before it gets there?
Yeah. So, kind of like we've hung our hat on levothyroxine-based treatment, like this crude oil, this inactive hormone treatment, and we've just accepted that, well, this is the answer and we're just going to move forward and never question that again. We've kind of done that also with TSH-based testing. So your thyroid stimulating hormone is the lab that you get pretty much every time you go to the doctor, screening for a thyroid problem, or even seeing how to manage your medication. And your TSH is a brain hormone. It comes from your pituitary. It's not even produced by your thyroid. And it just sort of communicates to your body, hey, how much work do we want to be putting in to make thyroid hormones, right? Do we need to push the pedal on the gas to produce more or pull it off? And we've accepted that that hormone reflects the level of your actual thyroid hormones, your crude oil hormone, your free T4, and your gasoline hormone, your free T3. The reality is it doesn't. It does sort of correlate with T4, your inactive hormone. Pros and cons of that are, if you're on a levothyroxine-based medication, it can almost alter your labs to look like everything is good, like it did for me, because your crude oil is high. That crude oil is sending a message to your brain to lower your TSH. And if your doctor checks both of those, which that's going to be, if they check anything other than TSH, it will be your crude oil hormone. All the while, your gasoline is on empty. Your T3 is low. You feel that. Your T3 is what drives symptoms. And so they're assuming, oh, well, if your TSH is good, your T4 is good, your T3 is good, everything's wonderful, no need to worry. When in fact, studies show your TSH reflects your level of T3 about 1% of the time. Your most important hormone then. We have no idea what it looks like 99% of the time, and it's not accurately reflected by TSH.
So we're in the dark with that, basically.
We are throwing darts at a dartboard blindfolded, hoping to hit a bullseye.
Yeah. And so that's the state of endocrinology for thyroid care. Okay. What tests should someone who is wanting to do have a preventative look on their thyroid, what tests should they be asking their doctor for then? So
a full thyroid panel, like hormone-wise, which is TSH, free T4, free T3, and reverse T3. No one should ever accept less than that. They should also consistently be checking for antibodies. For Hashimoto's antibodies, it's an extremely common condition, especially among women. And that is TPO, or thyroid peroxidase antibodies, and thyroglobulin, because those can be elevated decades before your thyroid hormones drift off course. And that is a very important piece of information. Inversely, what's actually happening is people will come to Modern Thyroid Clinic 20 years into their thyroid issue, and they've never had their antibodies checked. They have no idea if they have Hashimoto's. And so we need to be flipping that and doing the inverse.
And what's the reason that they're not testing those markers?
Yeah.
What's the reason that, is it because for them, they say it's not evidence-based, or the evidence shows that we should just need to be testing TSH and that's it? What's the reason that they're so resistant against doing reverse hormones?
You know, I think it's a multifaceted reason. One is, I think medicine is almost inherited, right? Like, we inherit our practice of medicine from the people who train us how to practice medicine at school, but even our preceptors, our chief residents, et cetera. And the way that they learned it 30 years ago is the way that you're going to practice, and then you're going to teach the person underneath you how to do that. It takes a long time for medicine to evolve, and women especially end up paying the price for that. So I think that's part of it. They're trained that, hey, TSH is enough. Like, TSH bonus, if you check free T4, that's all you need to check. I think under the surface, if I was to propose an idea, it is a lot of time clinicians do not want to not have the answer. They don't want to check these labs that the person brings them on the Post-it note like I did. And when the labs come back, they don't know how to interpret them. I was not trained in how to interpret free T3, was not even trained what reverse T3 is. My endocrinologist, clinical director of our program, same. So they don't know what to do with the information. And lastly, it's this. It's, if they check a full thyroid panel every time and they take insurance, that costs the insurance company quite a bit of money. And what they end up doing is calling the practice and saying, hey, look, you're ordering all these inappropriate thyroid tests. If you keep doing this, we're going to drop you as one of our providers. And then they're out of whatever it is, whatever large insurance company that they make money on because they're an insurance-based carrier, they can no longer practice medicine under them. And that's a big deal.
Never even heard about that perspective.
Yeah.
Because it's not like they don't want to do right. It's just that they're under this umbrella that is sort of constricting for them.
It is. And then I think the time, right? Like, the reality is clinicians are trained to see patients in 4 to 8 minutes. You don't have a lot of time to go over an in-depth lab analysis in 4 to 8 minutes and talk to the patient about their problem, present a plan. And patients don't like that, but hey, clinicians don't like it either. Like, we're just as frustrated about it and just as burnt out with it as everybody else. And so I think that's another dynamic.
Yeah. And it's interesting to see it from an objective standpoint. It's like, again, this is the state of thyroid care, and we need to be really honest about it, because I know working naturopathic functional, like, what to look for, but I haven't been in the practice and seeing. I was hoping you came here and said, hey, you know what, things are changing.
Yeah.
But I guess 2018 really veered everything off. So
it did.
There's viewers and listeners going, okay, well, no, I've been going to my conventional doctor, my thyroid hormone looks pretty good. But they might feel a certain way, and it might just be beginning. What are the main symptoms that we need to start looking for, where maybe we need to go to a functional doctor and say, hey, I need a workup because I'm feeling all of these things? Cooking can help some people, but other people benefit from raw foods and enzymes. It's different for each person, but I really want you to pay attention to this from a nutritional standpoint. If you are stressed and not eating mindfully the way that nature intended, your pancreatic enzymes are going to suffer. Pancreatic enzymes are something that suffers immediately when you are in a stressful state. So you really have to make sure that if you're not sitting and eating mindfully with zero distraction, I'm talking about zero, not even talking to anyone, then your pancreatic enzymes are going to be affected. That's why we have something called digestive enzymes. When you have a high quality digestive enzymes like Masszymes by Biooptimizers, you're having a best-in-class supplement that's loaded with the full spectrum of enzymes to digest protein, starch, sugars, fibers, fats, everything comprehensively for digestive support. If your natural pancreatic enzymes shut down, you'd be dead. But when we're stressed, they're not being produced at a high level. This is when you want to complement them. So if you're stressed, if you're out to eat, if you're on the go, you really should be thinking about supplementing digestive enzymes. They've made a difference in my life. I take them all the time, especially when I have big meals or when I know I'm not eating mindfully. And when you have better digestion from enzymes, you have less bloating, less heartburn, less constipation, less diarrhea, less gut issues overall. And on top of that, you're setting yourself up for better absorption of all of these macronutrients and nutrients getting into the body, giving you more energy, so you feel better. So if you want the digestive enzymes I've been using for many years, I bring them out to eat all the time. I have them in my pocket, or I put them in a little zippy thing. Go to biooptimizers.com/DRG and enter the code DRG to get 15% off of your order. And if you subscribe, you'll get amazing discounts and free gifts while ensuring that your monthly supply is guaranteed. Go to BIOPTIMIZERS.com/DRG and the code is DRG. Let me ask you something. Are you struggling to eat enough protein every single day? I mean, really getting the amount of protein that your body needs to build muscle and support recovery and even maintain healthy hair, skin, and nails? If you're like most people, you are probably falling short, and that's where something incredible comes in. I want to talk to you about Kion aminos, and here's why they have become such an essential part of my daily life. I take it every single day. I take it every single day, whether in the capsule form or in the powder form. Protein is essential, especially over the age of 40. And what happens is we don't get enough. And you definitely need whole food sources of protein. But it's what's inside the protein that actually builds muscle and supports these overall vital functions. And those are called essential amino acids. What most people don't realize is that Kion aminos ensures you're getting all of the essential amino acids from protein that your body absolutely needs. It contains more essential amino acids than most protein sources out there, and you're absorbing more essential amino acids to build better muscle and overall health. But what makes Kion completely different from everything else on the market is that it contains all the 9 essential amino acids, not just the 3 you get in branched chain amino acids, and not just the 8 you get from other brands, but it has the right proportions at the right dosage. And something I really value by this company is that they're transparent. They give you the exact amounts of essential amino acids that they label. There are no proprietary blends, no hiding behind fancy marketing terms. You are actually absorbing what you get. I've been taking the Kion amino acids for 3 years now. I've noticed better muscle building, better muscle recovery, stronger workouts, more sustained energy. I give it to my dad, my brother's on them. I'm giving it to everyone who's over 40 at this point. It's like really giving your muscles and organs the premium feel that they've been craving, especially if you have a workout regimen. So right now you can save 20% on Kion aminos by using my link. Go to getkion.com/DRG. That is GETKION.com/DRG. And I'm going to tell you the best part. They offer a risk-free 60-day money-back guarantee, so you can try it completely risk-free.
I'm so glad that you asked this question. I think from my deathbed, I'll be saying, don't ever believe someone if they tell you your thyroid labs are normal. Like, that is so important, because women just like me are showing up the doctor's office with fatigue, with brain fog, with hair loss, with dry skin, with loss of the outer portions of their eyebrows, with low libido, with depression, with constipation, with bloating. And they're being told, hey, no, your thyroid labs are normal. Mm-hmm. It's not your thyroid. And the reality is there are so many steps in our system right now that are still flawed to actually let people get clarity on those answers. Medicine writes those symptoms off as, quote, non-specific. They can be anything. They're not specific to thyroid, so don't worry about them. If your thyroid labs are normal, it's not your thyroid. The reality is this, it's like, if it looks like a duck, quacks like a duck, walks like a duck, it's probably a duck, right? So if you're walking around with 4, 5, 6 of those symptoms, it's probably not non-specific. It's actually quite specific. In all my years of practice doing literally 100% of thyroid, I've turned away one person who came and actually didn't have a thyroid issue. Every single person that steps into Modern Thyroid Clinic has already been told, usually by more than one clinician, their thyroid is not, their thyroid is not the issue that is causing their symptoms. So you have to get the right labs, like we talked about. You have to look at those labs from an optimal, not normal perspective. That is another huge barrier. And then third, for people on medications like levothyroxine, a lot of them, their labs will look perfect, just like mine did. And their issue is under the surface that isn't fully being uncovered.
A lot of women are, the hair loss that women suffer with, and they just say, it's like normal hair loss. As you get older, your hair, just thins out a little bit. But you hear, remember this patient, she would take pictures and show when she came into me. It was incredible. It's just like hair in the sink and hair in the shower. And I was like, okay, there's something going on. And
it's objective.
her doctors says, she showed me the lab work. She said, everything's normal, but what's happening? And I was like, okay, there's some stuff going on.
Right.
But the hair loss, you mentioned the thinning of the eyebrows. Where? On the outside?
Like out here. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It's so interesting. It's like hyper specific.
That's hyper specific.
Yeah.
So if someone is witnessing their eyebrows get thin on the outside, how often is it a thyroid issue?
Oh, I don't know another condition in medicine that causes thinning of the outer portion of the eyebrows. So, I mean, I would say pretty much all the time.
Wow.
Yeah.
So everyone viewing and listening, if you have some thinning, I think about my dad. He's got a little bit of thinning over here, and it's gotten over the years just more and more. Oh my God. Okay, so we need to get him worked up.
Right.
And what about libido?
Yeah.
How big of a role? Some women will say, I just feel like I don't have it anymore. The intimacy between me and my partner, I just don't feel that oomph.
Yeah.
And they'll write it off to, relationship issues, which it could be.
Right.
But how much of a role does thyroid play in libido, in that drive?
It does play a significant role because it's foundational. One, like thyroid itself, put a pin in it, literally impacts your libido if that is your only issue.
Yeah.
If you have hypothyroidism, you'll have low libido. But in turn, it also facilitates the loss of testosterone. And with that loss, again, it compounds and we have less libido. And so it's so interesting because it is like this central point in your physiology that impacts so much of our day-to-day life. And if you shift that pinpoint it can disrupt every aspect of our lives almost. Yeah.
Then there's hyperthyroid.
Yeah.
What does that look like in people when it's really beginning to start getting active before it's on the lab test? What do people start seeing building up?
Yeah, this is such an important conversation because no one ever asks me about hyper. So hyperthyroidism is an overproduction of thyroid hormones. It can be from Graves, it can be from a nodule, and it leads to initially symptoms of almost the opposite of hypothyroidism, like shakiness, elevated heart rate, hair loss for sure, weight loss, anxiety, trembling, palpitations. It's interesting though, if people live in that long enough or it gets severe enough, it actually starts to also mimic hypothyroidism. Your body works so incredibly hard to try to get rid of those extra hormones that you actually begin to feel fatigued. But it is such an important conversation because as delayed as the advancement in treatment of hypothyroidism in the state of medicine, Graves' hyperthyroidism is lagging even farther behind. And these people really are suffering. And there's new, great ways to help them that people just aren't aware of yet.
Viewers and listeners, pay attention, right? Because sometimes we can be really feeling those symptoms and not really pinpointing just yet because it won't be on the labs just yet.
Right.
They might not even see a nodule just yet, but they start getting those. So I always come back to being sensitive and feeling your body and knowing kind of what it's saying, because if we're like living in our heads the whole time, we're not going to be able to sense what's happening in our body.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things that cause issues with the thyroid. I know that in your clinic, you put on the Sherlock Holmes hat and the magnifying glass and really look into it. What are one of the biggest drivers for thyroid dysfunction that conventional isn't really even looking at all?
Oh yeah, inflammation, 100%. So inflammation drives autoimmune disease. So much of that burden is manufactured and able to be influenced by levels of inflammation in the body. And medicine hasn't even realized that yet. In their mind, oh, you have hypothyroidism. We just need to put you on some medication. We don't even need to worry about this Hashimoto's thing, this Graves thing at all. It's like the reverse lottery. It's random. There's nothing you can do about it. Go on your merry way.
Yeah.
The reality is you can absolutely scientifically, measurably with labs influence antibody levels, influence severity of autoimmunity. I used to have severe Hashimoto's. I had a giant goiter. I have not had Hashimoto's in over 10 years. And if people can figure out ways to influence their levels of inflammation, they can very often influence their antibody levels.
So here we have inflammation, generalized process happening in the body, driving autoimmune. what about one of the biggest drivers of that inflammation? What is one thing that you're like, oh my God, if people just knew about this thing that's driving so much inflammation in the body, I wish we tested it. What would be one of those things?
Yeah. I mean, I would say food. Food is a powerful way. It's like we can't always influence the air we breathe. When we're outside, obviously we can have purifiers, things inside, but we can't influence our genetics, but we can influence what we put in our body, what we have control over. And food is one of the fastest ways to mitigate that inflammatory response.
Or do you love any particular foods for your clients or patients that come in?
Yeah. So, I mean, I love a micronutrient dense diet, like high in variations of micronutrients, the colors of the rainbow. I'm a vegetable fruit person. I love meat. Protein's the foundation of everything, but I think we're almost losing sight of the importance of vegetables in our diet. Green juice for me, if I had to like pick one specific thing, it would be that. It's a way that we can fit a ton of micronutrients into a tiny little serving that people who are really tired can actually get in and fuel their body, fuel their cells in a way that doesn't require them to meal prep every day and all the things. So that's like a little cheat code for me.
Okay, I like that. And what about the role of heavy metals?
Yeah.
Does that play a role in thyroid dysfunction?
Yeah. So I think heavy metals, pollutants, environmental, plastic, all of them do. And there's data to actually back that up. And that is one area of medicine that's progressing. We are starting to look at how those things impact thyroid function in a real and undeniable way. So yeah, absolutely.
Can that be tested?
It can. Oh yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
You can do urine, you can do hair, various ways, but we're advancing in that regard too.
Is it possible that people who have long COVID or infections since COVID can be targeting the thyroid and causing dysfunction too?
Absolutely. So we saw a significant increase, particularly in Graves' disease after COVID. I think for us, it's more measurable than Hashimoto. So our practice is filled with Hashimoto's patients all day, every day. They're there, right? But for every 20 Hashimoto's patients, we have one Graves' patient. Well, all of a sudden, after COVID, people started acutely, within a matter of weeks, maybe 3 months, experiencing Graves and hyperthyroidism in an undeniable way. Wouldn't have expected it. Also see Hashimoto's antibodies increase after COVID. And it's been a pretty interesting time. I'm a data collector. I study patterns. Is what makes us good at what we do at Modern Thyroid Clinic. Undeniable.
The infections, is it just COVID? Is it Epstein-Barr? Is it mono? Is there certain infections that are tied into thyroid dysfunction, or is it just the inflammation by way of whatever infection it is?
Yeah. I think the COVID thing is unique from an inflammatory perspective, right? Because it's like systemic inflammation, and it tends to like go where you're most susceptible to it. So I think that is a beast in and of itself. I do think infections can drive Hashimoto's. I'm not convinced still on the Epstein-Barr thing. I know it's like very well accepted in the functional medicine sector. The reason I struggle with it is because 100% of my Hashimoto's patients that I test are going to have Epstein-Barr, because 100% of us do. So it's hard for me to, from a data perspective, delineate the incidence and risk associated in the correlation between Epstein-Barr and Hashimoto's, because it's ubiquitous almost. I've seen 2 people ever that don't have it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's you test it. Yeah, it's there. But I want to go back to food. You really were like talking about how important food is. Is there any food that we can eat that is actually not good? We hear like, okay, broccoli is good for the thyroid, but what if you have too much? Kale is good for the thyroid, but what if you have too much? Is there a healthy, quote unquote, food that actually isn't that healthy for the thyroid?
Good question. So I've tested thousands of people with Hashimoto's and their food inflammatory results, right? Looking at IgG inflammatory results. Are there patterns with these people? Are there predictable trends that happen? And there is unique aspects for each individual person, but there are trends too. Like the obvious ones are gluten. Far exceeding gluten is dairy, which is, I wouldn't have expected. The one that is in like the top 4 or 5 that I couldn't have anticipated is eggs. Like eggs is in there. It's undeniable. I think it's the 4th common food category that I see that drives inflammation in Hashimoto's patients. Sadly, I love eggs. They're so great for us, but something can also activate.
And for some people, they shouldn't.
Yeah.
So gluten, dairy, eggs, is there any other foods where people who have thyroid issues, maybe they should stay away from?
Yeah, good question. So number 1 is dairy. Number 2 is gluten. Number 3 is legumes. Number 4 is grains. Number 5 is eggs. And number 6 is nuts and seeds. By the time you get to nuts and seeds, it's like 5% of the population. It's definitely in descending order, but clear, undeniable data with those foods that for whatever reason, people with Hashimoto's tend to be more prone to sensitivity to them.
I have a question, and maybe no one's ever asked you this. Do you notice a psychosomatic component to people who suffer with thyroid issues?
No. I notice that they're told that their issues are psychosomatic. And to me, it's in the data. Like to me, I can look at labs, I can look at information and with clarity say, this is a biochemical fixable issue. And I think the pattern that I see so much is like, for example, on my first appointment with people and I'm reviewing labs with them, I'm not exaggerating when I tell you 95% of women look at me and they tell me one of 2 things. 1, so you're telling me I'm not crazy because that's what medicine has made them believe. Or 2, you're telling me this isn't all in my head. Like, so they think almost that there's a psychosomatic component to it, but really it's explainable.
What about people who have not yet done the deep repressed emotional work? What if they're holding in repressed emotions and that's leading to stress in their system? Do the people who come in with thyroid issues, do they present and do you sense that they might be holding in a lot of stuff on the inside?
Yeah, there's a couple dynamics with that I consider. One is 85% of kids with trauma have a significant health issue, like a chronic medical condition early on in life, often presenting as autoimmune disease, right? So that stress gets buried in our nervous system. And if we don't find a way to work it out, it manifests physically in ailments and conditions. I think number 2, I think about this, and this is outside of my scope, right? Yeah. But so much of the thyroid is tied to people's feeling that they can speak freely and that they have a voice, right? And it's tied to this concept of repression and holding things in. And I think there's a lot of validity in that. That medicine, those explanations existed far before traditional medicine, conventional medicine. And I think there's a lot of wisdom there.
I love that you said that because that's my realm. That's my scope. So and that's the way that I approach people who, will do the functional stuff, but I really, really work on their throat and their voice and actually connecting back their true voice.
Yeah.
If you think about it, there's even a mechanism of the fascia around the organs and around that area, which is tied to the nervous system, which is connected to the parts of the brain, which are tied to emotional centers. And so there's a deep relationship between organs and the fascia and the nervous system and the brain. And, I didn't believe fully in this until I started seeing when people integrate these really deep repressed pain and traumas and bring it to the surface and actually integrate it back.
Yeah.
I actually saw physical miracles that you don't see in medicine.
Right.
So it's such a huge component, especially in autoimmune disease, psychoneuroimmunology. And so I love that you said that. I love that you brought that to the surface because, I know you're the patterns and data, but you see that too. That's so cool that you're comprehensive like that.
Right. And it is. And it's such a strange thing, I think, especially with the thyroid, because it's almost like already women don't feel like they have that voice, like they can freely speak. And then they go to their clinician and they're further shut down and they're further repressed. Well, this is me. This is my problem. It's not a physical problem. I'm scared to bring it up to my doctor the next time, and it's truly such a common issue. And that is how it's handled the vast majority of the time, that's such an important conversation to have.
Yeah. It's sort of like medical gaslighting.
It's exactly what it is.
Right? And you're just shut down in something that you know is true in your body. You know there's something off and it's not in your head.
And they convince them that it's in their head.
Yeah, because the labs here, look at the paperwork. This is the data, is what it shows.
Right.
Are there any other organs or organ systems connected to the thyroid where the thyroid is dysfunction, and now we're starting to see other organs causing dysfunction hormonally?
Yeah. Right out of the gate, adrenals, like pretty much 100% of the time. Like when your thyroid function drops, your adrenals, your stress glands, they try to compensate. They try to pick up the slack and they increase cortisol secretion and they overwork until eventually, like anything that's overworking, right? It can't perpetually overcompensate for someone else's job and it gets tired. They get worn down and they don't function as well, which further contributes to more fatigue and brain fog and loss of resilience. Soon after that comes hormones, right? But I mean, your thyroid connects everything. It's your neurochemistry, it's depression, it's anxiety, it's so early on, it's heart disease, it's cancer, it's bone health. The fingers, the tentacles hit everything in our physiology, which is why it's so frustrating that medicine is wanting to wait longer and longer to help these people, because it contributes to so much of the chronic disease burden in our country that could truly be solved if we just properly manage people's thyroids.
So you believe a lot of the chronic diseases that we're seeing are downstream effects of thyroid dysfunction?
100%. It's undeniable. And in my opinion, the way that we treat thyroid now and what we're doing to these women now is the next women's health initiative. Like it is going to be the next thing that shows up in medicine of, oh no, we compromised generations of people because we messed up on a few studies,
So that's empowering, right? For the people out there to know, wow, you're really suffering. And you're right? The thyroid, it's not just metabolic health, it's everything. It's got its fingers in everything. And so it would stand to believe from a physiological level, if it's manifesting like this, why don't we look at something that could be driving it hormonally and it's coming from the thyroid? It's sort of like this master center, and I see a circle with all these lines coming out, affecting so much, because we're not properly testing it.
Right. And we're not properly treating it either, and it's this missing gap in medicine that hopefully is going to shift soon. That why aren't we taking things back one more step? Like if you have heart disease and high cholesterol, why can't we look and see if something is driving that? If you have diabetes, why can't we go and search for a root cause? And we just, our brains aren't taught. We're not thinking like that yet.
Yeah. It makes sense. What about reproductive health? The reproductive hormones, can the thyroid affect that too?
Almost immediately. Like from periods to estrogen dominance to low progesterone to low testosterone, but to infertility, inability to get pregnant, inability to stay pregnant. We have a fertility crisis on our hands in our country. And women are walking around with a TSH and thyroid hormones that literally are driving their infertility. They're going to get IVF that's often not necessary or doesn't end well because they need thyroid hormones to move through pregnancy too. It is an enormous issue.
The fertility, there's a problem, a big epidemic here.
Big.
I've heard 3 friends in the past 4 years talk about IVF.
Right.
I've heard 4 times so far. It's crazy.
Yeah.
And you didn't hear about IVF back then. And it's so expensive. I didn't even know it was so expensive.
And multiple rounds.
Multiple rounds.
Right.
It's grueling for the family.
Yeah.
For the two. And you're saying, hey, and let's check the thyroid. Yeah. Just check the thyroid first. Let's see, and then treat the thyroid. So now the women, especially coming into your clinic, they're getting treated. What does it feel like when someone's coming back online with their thyroid?
Yeah, this is what I really love for people to know. That's a great question, because I think so many people are out there, they feel hopeless. They've tried all these things. They've increased and decreased their Synthroid 100 times over the last 15 years, and it never changed anything. The reality is this, if you can land in the hands of the right clinician, get the right protocol, most people feel a shift within days. I'm not exaggerating. Wow. If you can give people the hormones that they've been walking around missing for so long, you feel that. Hormones are incredibly powerful. You know that. And it doesn't take long. Now, are they where they will be when everything's perfect in a month or a year or whenever? Yeah. No. But you'll know if you're on the right track extremely quickly. It doesn't take long.
And there's people saying, oh my God, my brain's working better. My
Yeah.
energy's better. I have libido. It's
Yeah.
coming out of no. What a beautiful thing, because it's so generalized. It's like the full body
Right.
spectrum, and it's mental health. So you said anxiety, depression. Wow. Is the only way to treat thyroid dysfunction with a medication, or is it a bioidentical hormone? Is it supplements? Is it food? Is it integrative? Is it all of it?
It's all of it.
It's all of
Not
it.
everyone needs medication. There are people that can work around and not need it. And the people that do need it, they need the holistic approach. Like, it's not going to be, oh, take this thing and everything's great, right?
Right.
Like, I use medication as the foundation, because when people come to us, we're like the last ditch effort place. They're barely getting out of bed. They feel horrible. They can't function. They can barely get their kids to school. So we use medication as a launching point to give them the energy, the motivation, the capacity to improve their lifestyle so they can build on that, as opposed to coming into us completely defeated and we ask them to change their lifestyle first. I don't like to do that in cases where they need medication, because again, they can quickly feel that improvement and then improve their diet, exercise, lifestyle, nutrition. All of these other aspects can so easily fall into place if you have the energy to just do them.
Okay, I feel that. Alcohol, smoking, worse for the thyroid?
Yeah. I mean, it's interesting. I don't take away people's wine if they want a glass of wine on occasion. I have a policy of never asking my patients to do something I'm not willing to do myself. And I had a glass of wine last night. Do I do that every night? No, but there is no real healthy level for drinking and smoking. Like, no matter what you're breaking down your physiology, if you choose to do that and you're like, you know what, I'm okay about doing this today, that's your decision. But absolutely, that is not only deteriorating the health of your thyroid, but your entire constitution.
So for you, let's say I came to your clinic and I go, okay, but I like to drink every weekend with my friends and we get a little drunk together,
Yeah.
Would you say, okay, Christian, I get that. Here's a recommendation that would be healthier. Do you think we can meet here? What's a healthier recommendation for people who go, well, I don't want to let go of my wine, or I don't want to let go of my beer?
Yeah. It's different for men and women. Like most things, men have more flexibility in terms of long-term health outcomes with alcohol in particular than women. Our body doesn't handle it as well, and pretty quickly can increase risk for cancer and all kinds of things. So definitely having conversations about the least amount as possible, and why. Like, why are you wanting to do that every weekend? Is this your friend group? Do you need to, are you escaping? Like, what's going on underneath the surface that this is your lifestyle? And is this really what you want your lifestyle to be? Is that what you're choosing for yourself? And do you think you can arrive at your full sense of vitality and in your body feeling like yourself in the way that you want, if that's what you're choosing to do every weekend? Because ultimately everyone has to make their own decisions, and I can have those conversations with them, and sometimes they just need those conversations. But ultimately, people have to choose the life that they want to live. And most people that come, at least to Modern Thyroid Clinic, they're ready. Like, they want to invest in their health. They're not afraid to do the work to feel as good as they want, because they felt so bad for so long.
Biggest bang for buck intervention for thyroid health?
Outside of thyroid medication? And money? You mean like monetarily?
Yeah.
I would probably say red light therapy or low dose naltrexone.
Wow. Both of them really, really help, huh?
Yeah.
The red light therapy too.
Red light therapy has been shown in research, and I've seen it in my practice, to reduce antibodies for both Hashimoto's and Graves', and it can also improve the activation of your thyroid hormones, which is the step most people have problems with, converting that crude oil to gasoline.
Wow. I love red light therapy.
Yeah.
I just didn't know about how potent it is for thyroid.
Yeah, for sure.
And low dose naltrexone, an anti-inflammatory, right? Amazing stuff. Where is your clinic?
It started in Austin. That's where I am. Now we don't have a brick and mortar anymore. We were having people fly in from like all over the country and all over the world. So we made the decision a few years ago to go nationwide. So now we're an entirely virtual practice.
Amazing.
We don't want to limit the accessibility of our care, because not to toot my own horn or our horn, but there aren't places that offer what we do.
Yep.
And it is so incredibly difficult for women to find somewhere to go and to find someone to help them. And we want to be that place, and we want it to be everywhere.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
I love that. Okay. And how do people say we have thyroid issues, we want to reach out? Where do we go?
Yeah. So you can go to modernthyroidclinic.com. We even have free discovery calls. I don't say that a lot on like podcasts and things, but we want this to be the right fit for people. So you can get completely a chat with one of our team, either a clinician or one of our health coaches, to see if what we offer aligns with what people are looking for. You can find us on all social media platforms at Modern Thyroid. I love social media. You can find me too, McCall McPherson, everywhere. And we just have a great time.
Go check out the Instagram. Go check out the website if you want to do a virtual call. Free discovery. I mean, come on. You really want to help some people. That's how I know. So go get your free discovery call. If you have thyroid issues, listen, I'm so happy that we have someone talking about thyroid with so much passion.
Thanks.
You picked an organ with your own experience and you ran with it, and you're helping so many people. And you just happen to pick an organ that has so much effect on the whole body. So I love the work that you're doing. I know the first person I'm going to call, if any labs or any way other than optimal, I'm going straight to you.
Yeah, I love it. Thanks so much for having this conversation. It's such an important one. People need to know that there are answers, there's hope, and remember, there's no reason to still have thyroid symptoms.
Amen. Perfect way to end that. I love that.